Bienvenidos a Los Secretos del Éxito con Gaby Wall Street. Hoy tenemos una edición especial. Me encuentro nada más y nada menos que en la oficina del alcalde de Miami, Francis Suárez. Quiero que me acompañen en este episodio a estar conmigo en esta conversación que tuve con él en un formato de preguntas y respuestas, pero empezó con un reconocimiento especial por todo lo que ha logrado y creado en la ciudad de Miami. No hay duda alguna que Miami se ha transformado en la ciudad más deseada en el mundo entero, donde literalmente las personas más exitosas del mundo están viniendo a mudarse y a vivir aquí. Desde Messi a Shakira a Jeff Bezos de Amazon, y la lista es muy pero muy larga. Entonces quiero que me acompañen en esta edición especial para que aprendan más acerca de lo que se viene para Miami, cómo planea hacer esto más accesible para las personas, lo que está haciendo para la comunidad y por supuesto aprender sus secretos de éxito y liderazgo, que pienso que todos podemos tomar muchas notas acerca de eso. Ahora, esta conversación es en inglés, pero si vas a mi canal de YouTube de Gaby Wall Street vas a poder ver el video con subtítulos en español. Si hablas inglés, entonces perfecto, puedes quedarte a ver la conversación en inglés por aquí. Que la disfrutes. Okay, so thank you so much, Mayor, for taking the time to take us. We are the founders of Latino Wall Street, and we dedicate our lives to educate and empower the Latino community to learn about financial education, all in Spanish. So we are the pioneers of bringing this type of education to our community. And we give this award to all the leaders that are an inspiration to us, that we look up to. It's a very selective couple people that we choose every year that have inspired us the most. So you were selected as our Mayor of the Year. We very much admire your leadership and everything you've done for Miami. You've literally transformed it into a global hub, and we're very much proud to live here.
Yeah.
So something you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, when people ask me, like, why did I move to Miami? I said that, Miami's, it's almost like the Latino Dubai. You have this big melting pot of all these different cultures and all this different innovation, and if you look at Miami, maybe 10, 20 years ago, it was known more for vacations and partying.
Yeah.
And in the last decade and under your leadership, we've seen it transform into an innovation hub with blockchain and finance and business and entrepreneurship. And it's just been an inspiration. So we want to thank you for your leadership in leading the way and transforming Miami into the hub that it's become.
Commend the work that I do and that we all do together, because this is a team effort. We're trying to build the most resilient, the most forward-looking ecosystem in the world. And we know that there are opportunities because the world is changing fast. And particularly in finance and in tech, which are merging together as well, we think that some of the decisions that we've made were calculated to try to take advantage of these, what I call four-generation disruptions that we're seeing. Disruptions that we haven't seen for four successive generations as we've transitioned from a highly industrial economy to an increasingly digital economy. And so we wanted to be on the forefront of that. We wanted to be known as the innovators. And we thought, and we think, and we see it playing out now, that by doing that, we are growing probably 20 years worth of growth in just 2 years. So that's it's something that we're managing, and I think it's beautiful that we have such a collection of Hispanic and Latino cultures here, right? So you have everything, every single Latino culture is literally is represented here in Miami, and some call us the capital of Latin America. I like to call us the capital of capital, and it's nice that an organization as prestigious as yours recognizes that.
Oh, thank you so much. And now we would like to officially give you the award, and we can take a picture.
Very nice. Mayor of the Year 2023.
Okay, Mayor, again, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. Miami has transformed into this global hub, specifically for technology and finance, which is what we're passionate about. What do you think have been those key strategies, initiatives, or partnerships that have been crucial to allow for this transformation to happen, specifically in those sectors?
Well, first of all, thank you, Tony and Gabby, for being here. What we saw was an opportunity. I call it a tsunami of opportunity, where you had some macro tailwinds or some macro events that created massive opportunity for advancement in a very short period of time. What were they? First, the SALT deduction going away. So for cities that maybe could be seen as competitive cities, or cities that were, very bullish on biotech, finance, and tech, the ability for them to deduct the state income taxes from their federal income taxes went away. So that made them double digits more expensive on an annual basis than Miami. So that was one major disruption. The second, of course, was COVID. We were seen as a city that was relatively open while others were relatively closed. So that gave us an opportunity as well. And then the third was, this distributed workforce, right? When you think about why is it important to be a global hub? Well, it's important to be a global hub because barriers are coming down, right? And they're coming down because now you have, the ability to work from anywhere, right? And you see companies that are building themselves up in ways that they employ employees from all over the world or the country. And that's important because you could get, for example, a very high skilled employee that lives in a city that's much more affordable. So you can manage the wages, right, and get high skill and manage that person's cost of living. So that's an interesting new concept that this allows you to do. And then I think the fourth factor was, unfortunately, some of the titans of tech and finance, in my opinion, were being sort of anti-American, right? You had a situation where you had New York, after winning the Amazon HQ2 prize, saying no thank you. And you had a situation where in California, you had an elected official say F Elon Musk, and he said message received, and he left, and he went to Austin to create a gigafactory. By contrast, right over your shoulder, you see how we responded to the question of what if we move Silicon Valley to Miami? We responded with, how can I help? Because we wanted to be different. We wanted to be saying, come create jobs, come bring investment to our community while everybody else is rejecting it. So I think those four factors is what led to this major disruptive moment for Miami.
Yeah, I think that inclusivity part with leadership that's inclusive, that's what has allowed for Miami to become what it is, because we've seen the most successful people in the world literally move here from all different industries, right? So we have Messi in soccer, but we also have Jeff Bezos from Amazon recently, right?
Absolutely, and I think some of these terms become very political, but the truth is that Miami is it's a city where there's so many different cultures, so many different people that come from so many different places, that for me, that creates a variety of opinions, perspectives, restaurants. So it really is part of our richness. It's part of who we are. It's part of our DNA. And I think in the way the world is constructed right now, that is a major advantage. Because people can come from the outside. 70% of the people that live in Miami were not born in Miami and feel comfortable. And that's important, particularly when you're trying to be, a global city. So, that's what I've heard from people who live here. I'm the first Miami-born mayor, so I sort of broke the mold.
Wow.
Yeah, I broke the trend, 125 years plus. So it's an exciting moment for our city. And I agree with you. I think the fact that people feel so comfortable here from so many different parts of the world is part of what we're known for.
Yeah, I mean, in a world, you mentioned it, like during COVID, the world became very divisive, and your leadership has been very inclusive, and you've been a great unifier. How do you think that the Miami culture maybe contrasts from some other cities where people are fleeing from?
I think we're different. I think part of it is our sort of birth narrative at some level. This is a community of exiles. Oftentimes people have been sort of kicked out of their country of birth, fleeing oppression, fleeing dictatorships.
Your family's from Cuba.
My family's
Yeah,
from
whether
Cuba.
it be Cuba, Venezuela, there's a lot of people
Exactly.
who come to Miami as a safe haven.
So I think we really love this country. We really appreciate this capitalistic system where if you work hard, if you study, if you pay your dues, if you treat people right, you have a chance to be successful, right? I think that is the American dream. So we are fundamentally very much into American prosperity. We think that's a massive democratizing force. Unfortunately, in this country and in others, we see what I consider to be a virus, which is this virus of socialism and communism, which is this notion that government can come in and make everybody equal. And it sounds great in theory, but it never works in practice, and it never has worked in the history of humanity. So we're very clear about that, and I think that also differentiates us. And by the way, not everybody likes that about us, right? In the sense that there are people that want to shape that narrative, and so they try to shape a narrative against us. So look, it's tough in politics in today's day. I've always tried to be a unifier. I've always tried to be someone who brings people together, who gets, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, better said. Meaning when you bring people together, you have something that's stronger than the individual component parts. So, that's just my personality. Some people are different than others. And I also think that's kind of a mayoral personality. Mayors don't have we don't have the option to fight all the time. We have to solve problems. And you can't go to the grocery store and be, blaming somebody for something that is your responsibility. So, I think that's who we are, and it's part of what makes us special.
So for aspiring leaders, is there any other principles you think are key and crucial for effective leadership that you could recommend people who are watching and say, I want to be a leader?
Yeah, I don't know that they're being followed much in a modern day political world, but civility is important. Integrity is obviously important. It's tough because you are being attacked viciously oftentimes by the press, by also people who are paid to attack you. And so there are these new phenomenons because the new war, we're seeing wars obviously across the world, which is disheartening. But there's also another war happening, which is a war of information. And that is a war that is being fought every single day to try to convince people of a particular viewpoint. And there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation that is being done specifically to fool people and is being done for nefarious reasons. That's, I think, the biggest threat to democracy. That's the biggest threat to our system of government, our way of life. And I'm not saying that I have the answer. I'm not so sure that I do. I'm a victim of it myself, and I'm trying to, you try to wade your way through it and figure it out. But I will say this, and I'll finish with this on this question. For our democracy to thrive, it requires good people. And so what I would just say is, I know it's tough. I know it seems unfair, and I know it seems punitive, this public life, but we need good people. Without good people, our democracy cannot survive. And so, that's the one thing I would say.
100%.
Yeah, so education is a big part of what we do at Latino Wall Street, and we're committed to bringing finance, education about not only traditional finance, right? Me and Gabby came from New York and kind of the Wall Street world. And then we saw Miami becoming this new financial hub. Tons of people moving down to South Florida. And the traditional Wall Street bull was then disrupted with the bull in Miami, the crypto bull, the blockchain bull, right? So what role do you see blockchain playing in both the global financial markets and the ecosystem here in Miami?
And crypto especially.
Yeah, I think it's a huge part. I think it is a transformational technology, which is part of the reason why we sort of went all in. I think what's interesting is, look, and I tell this to people all the time, they get caught up in one company failing or another company failing. I always remind them of Netscape and Napster. For those of you who don't know, Napster was a file sharing music sharing app. And now you have Apple Music and Spotify, right? So that company didn't survive, but the concept revolutionized the world. And Netscape was a browser. And now you have Google and Safari. I mean, Netscape didn't survive as a company, but the concept revolutionized the world, right? I mean, I just saw this incredible Google commercial about all these, the most search person on this and that and the other. It was an incredible commercial. So what this technology is going to allow us to do is have transparency. It's going to have potentially better governance. It's going to have democratizing impacts for Hispanic communities, Latino communities across the country. Because right now, if you want to build a building anywhere, there's only two ways to finance it: debt or equity, right? Either someone puts in equity, or they go to a bank and they borrow money, or some combination thereof. But the people who are lending the money, or the people who are making money on the equity, are big funds, which sometimes maybe the average person cannot invest in. So what crypto will allow us to do is to invest in small increments, $100 increments, $1,000 increments, $1 increments, in these kinds of vehicles, and it's going to give people a democratizing opportunity for wealth generation that didn't exist in the past.
Incredible. And to finish, we would like, you've had so many accomplishments, obviously, and we very much acknowledge you for that, and we look up to you for that. But we would like to know your most proud moment of the year. If you could just pick one, what would that be?
This might be it. You know, being named Mayor of the Year.
Oh my God.
That's a big deal. Look, I've been blessed in other years. I had once Time Magazine name me one of the next 100 leaders of the world, great leaders of the world, which was a new list that they came up with, which was the next 100 list. They have a 100 list, it's 100 great leaders of the world. I had Fortune name me the 20th greatest leader in the world, I think in 22. This may be it for 2023. I mean, for someone, an organization like yours, to say that I am the best mayor or the mayor of the year or something like that. Look, we don't do this job for accolades. That's not why we do the job. We do the job to help people. But it's nice. It does give you a little bit of gas in the spiritual gas tank when somebody says, "Hey, look, we noticed. You know, you're working hard. You're making a difference. And it's no, right? Like generally, that is it's nice because we do give it 100%. And there are critics, right? Like you know,
anything,
exactly. Right? And so it's nice. I tell my wife sometimes, she's like, I don't want to compliment you because, I said, honey, you have to compliment me because I get so much criticism from so many haters and so many critics that if my wife doesn't compliment me, I'm not going to have any self-esteem by the time I get home. So it's a joke. It's a joke, but it is true that when people recognize the work you do, it gives you fuel. It gives you, in Spanish we say esperanza, hope.
Yeah. Hope.
Right? That, you're on the right track. That somebody is noticing that this is having an impact. And that you can weather the storm of criticism because you are making a difference. Otherwise, sometimes it feels like, why am I doing this?
It's just work and work. Yeah, and just to finish, any milestone you would like to share with us this upcoming year? I'm sure you have a lot on your calendar, but anything you're specifically excited about?
So our agenda this year is going to be focused on the three H's, I call it. Homicide, homelessness, and housing, right? We want to make sure this year we had the lowest homicide rate since 1947 or since we started recording. We started recording statistics in 1947. We've had a couple of years that are less in the intervening period, but we started recording in 1947 homicides. We had 32. Right now we have 30. So we're about to end the year with less. Our high water mark was 220. On housing, we want to continue to push the envelope to make housing affordable. We see this as a national issue.
Yeah, it is.
Housing affordability is a major issue, so we want to be creative and proactive on that. And homelessness, we're down to 534 unsheltered homeless, and we want to be the first major American city to be at 0. So that's what I'm focusing on.
That's a big goal.
It's a big goal.
But we need big goals, right? That's
big
what
goals.
We're all about.
Yeah. Listen, you'll never get to the goal if you never set it. For sure.
That's true. So, anything else?
No, I mean, I love those goals because as Miami continues to flourish, right, there's the saying that the tide rises, all ships. And as the cost of living goes up, it is a concern that the normal people are getting left behind. You look like what happened in San Francisco, and it completely destroyed the economy there. So I love that you're forward thinking enough to focus on those problems.
Yeah, and look, we're also number one in wage growth, right? So on the income side, we've done very well. I think we've gone up since 2019, 138% in income.
Wow.
So, there's two sides of the equation. Inflation sometimes can also lift income. So we're just trying to make life more affordable. We just did a free gas giveaway yesterday because gas prices are through the roof. And we're trying to do everything in the holidays to make life a little easier for people.
We appreciate it. We thank you. We acknowledge you. And this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great job.
Espero hayan disfrutado esta conversación. Ustedes saben que estos temas de éxito, de liderazgo, de educación son mis temas favoritos. A mí me encantó aprender cuáles han sido esos secretos para hacer a Miami la ciudad más exitosa y por supuesto todas esas cosas que él siempre está implementando para asegurarse que en cada vez lograr más. Quiero también que sepan que este año se vienen muchas cosas nuevas. Se viene nuestra conferencia anual con muchas sorpresas, así que quiero que estén pendientes a la conferencia anual de Latino Wall Street porque se van a venir muchas cosas grandes y nuevas. Y también recuerden que pueden estar en la Universidad de Latino Wall Street, donde aprendemos más acerca de los temas de tomar el control de nuestro dinero, invertir, hacer nuestro dinero trabajar y por supuesto tener éxito. Nos vemos en un próximo episodio de Los Secretos del Éxito con Gaby Wall Street.